Okay, so this is a tutorial where we're going to animate a little yellow car, and this is a really nice little rig. It has some quirks, but it's a free rig. It's a nice little rig, and you can find it here at Creative Crash. And if I go to Creative Crash and I enter the keywords Aaron Parker, for it was he who created the car, and I click on this, and it's going to give me this little. Looks like it's here twice, but anyway, this is the Any car. It's called swappable car rig with Uber shockeys, the Any car 3.14. And as I say, it's by Aaron Parker. It's a great little rig, highly recommended, and it will allow us to create a little bit of vehicle animation with personality. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little 12 frame cycle, and we're going to use squash and stretch to give our car personality and character. Now this is a two-part exercise. In part one we're going to create a motion cycle, and then in part two we'll create a scene, bake out our curves and add a little performance. And by the end of this exercise you should understand how to animate a vehicle in motion, or at least a cartoony one anyway, how to adjust the curves in the graph editor to smooth out the cycle, how to import a set, how to bake out your curves, and how to add a little bit of a character performance on a vehicle. So the first thing we want to do is import the rig and open it up. That's the one I just showed you. And then of course we go and we create a project. So you go to File, Project Window, New, call it Beetle or whatever you want. Click Accept. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again. Then once you do that, you then go to Set Project. My project is actually called Yellow Car. That's one here. And then I go Set to set my project to Yellow Car. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go File, Save Scene As, and then I want to save it in the Scenes folder. In this case, it's a Maya ASCII car, so I want to change that Maya binary to Maya ASCII. Otherwise, you may end up getting an error message when you try and save it. So remember, if you start off with a .ma file, you have to save it as an ASCII file, not as a binary file. Okay, so once we've got that working, let's go and take a look at the controls and see what we've got. Now, one of the most important controls is this little squash and stretch control that's here at the top of the rig. Then the next control we want to know about is this one here, the big circle. That's the global control, the move one. And then we want this little arrow at the front here, this little pointy arrow, and that control is the main sort of move control for the car, the main body control, separate from the wheels. And we can also rotate the car from left to right using this control as well, which we will do. Then these little pointy things here, these allow us to open up the hood or the bonnet, and this little half moon here allows us to open up the trunk or the boot, and depending on whether you're in England or America. These little poles here should allow us to, where is it? There we go. Yep, the right door open. If I click on Translate Y, there we go. That slider there, I'm middle mouse dragging, will open up and close the doors. Also, we can animate these wheels up and down separately, left to right. We can they can actually come way out. Quite fun. So quite a lot of fun to be had there. Okay, so that's a little tour of the rig. Sometimes this rig is a little temperamental. Sometimes these controls turn themselves off for no particularly good reason. If that happens, you go to Display, Show All, and that will bring all the controls back. There you go. There was one there that went missing. Actually, that seems to be the same as this. Whoops. Yeah, not sure what the difference is there. Yeah. Okay. So let's get started. Now, what we're going to do is first of all set our timeline from frame 101 to frame 113 because it's a 12 frame cycle, so we want a 12 frame workspace. Oops, 101. 101. Okay, great. So now going to frame 1, I'm now going to start off by keyframing. Look, actually there you go. You can see that the controls have disappeared. So if I go to Display, Show All, that should bring them all back. Now I'm going to go to the squash control here, and I'm going to set it to an up position at frame 1. Hit S. Then at frame 104, I'm going to bring it down slightly. Then at 107, I'm going to bring it up slightly. Then at 110, I'm going to bring it down slightly. And then at 113, I'm going to bring it up slightly. Now if I hit spacebar and go to the multi-view, window, saved layouts, animation, where I have the perspective view up here, and then I'll keep the perspective view here for now as well. And now I'm just going to turn off select surface objects. Under show, so that I don't select any geometry by mistake, under show I'm going to put none, and then just turn on polygons and NURBS curves. And I shall do the same thing here, show none, just show polygons and NURBS curves. Then I'm going to grab all of the controls, hit A in my graph editor, and you can see I've got a bunch of controls here, keyframes here at the beginning that have come with the rig. I'm just going to get rid of those because we don't need them. So now if I hit A, I can just see these controls, these keyframes that I've already created. And I'm going to select them all and go to curves pre-infinity cycle and curves post-infinity cycle, and then go view infinity, and that turns on my infinity curves, and I want my infinity curves on. Then I'm going to drag select these values up here, these keyframes vertices up here, and go to the flatten tangents button. Whoops. And just make sure that everything is lined up so it's around about the same at the beginning and the end. And let's see what I've got. And the answer is a sack full of nothing. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there. Something has gone wrong. So let me Z all of that out. Now let's see. Let me go back to frame 1. Let's try actually I was going to have that up at frame 1, wasn't I? So then down at 105. Okay, that seems to be working. Then bring it up. This rig is a little temperamental, I have to admit. And it can sometimes do odd things. But then that is the case with a lot of free rigs, is they are temperamental. And okay, now it's working. Let me just flatten off those tangents there. Let's turn on the infinity curves, post-infinity cycle, just like we did before. Just move that down. Okay, great. That's what I wanted. I want the sense of the car kind of, you know, kind of pumping up and down like an old jalopy, kind of chugging along. It's very cartoony, very kind of Model T. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the move control at the front of the car. That's this guy here. And I'm going to turn on I'm going to go to the rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate the car slightly to the left at the beginning. Hit S. Then I'm going to middle mouse drag that over to 113 and hit S again. Middle mouse dragging basically sets a keyframe in the same position on that number, 113. And now to 107, I'm going to rotate the car the other way. Hit S again just to make sure I've got a keyframe set. Hit A in the graph editor, and I should, if I go up to rotate Y, I should now, I've actually got to turn on the infinity curves again, post-infinity cycle. Now if I flatten off those tangents, I should have that car kind of rocking from side to side as it chugs along. Okay, that's fine, so far so good. Now I probably want to just make sure that it's rocking around about the same side on either side of the axis, just to make it even, and that looks fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now the next thing is to just animate the car up and down a little bit. Now we've added the squash control, and so what I want to do is animate the car, I think have it slightly up at the beginning, then have it go, actually what I'll do is I'll have it go slightly down at 104 along with the squash, then slightly up at 107 also along with the squash, then slightly down at 110 along with the squash, and then up at 113 along with the squash. So what we should have in that translate Y is, now again I'm going to have to smooth this out because my start and end values aren't quite the same. I'm also going to flatten off those tangents there. Whoops. And I've got to turn on my infinity curves again. Pre-infinity cycle, post-infinity cycle. Now I should have the car, as well as squashing up and down, it's kind of bobbing up and down as well. Good. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that, and I'm actually now almost done with the main part of the cycle. I might just even this out a little bit, just so that it's not quite so uneven. I want an even sine curve, even on both sides. Okay, there we go. That's my little car. Now that everything is moving successfully and I'm reasonably happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and save my work. So File, Save Scene As, car V002. So having saved our work, that's the end of the first part of this video. The next video is about putting the car in a context and importing a set, baking out our curves and adding a fun performance at the end.